Chào mừng các bạn quay trở lại với phần 2 của cuộc phỏng vấn đặc biệt cùng con gái của một cựu chiến binh Mỹ. Lần này, chúng ta sẽ khám phá một trong những dịp lễ được yêu thích nhất ở Mỹ, đó là Giáng sinh. Nhìn những ánh đèn lung linh này, các bạn có thấy bầu không khí lễ hội thật kỳ diệu không? Ở Mỹ, Giáng sinh không chỉ là một thời gian để trang trí, nhận quà, mà còn là dịp để mọi người quây quần bên gia đình, kể chuyện cũ và tạo ra những kỷ niệm mới. Vậy, với gia đình của một cựu chiến binh Mỹ từng đến Việt Nam, mùa Giáng sinh có gì đặc biệt? Bố chị ấy có kể những câu chuyện thú vị khi ở Việt Nam không? Và chị ấy nhớ nhất điều gì từ thời thơ ấu trong mùa Giáng sinh? Hãy cùng mình khám phá ngay bây giờ nhé.
Chị Cindy là đồng nghiệp của mình và chị rất vui để gặp khán giả Việt Nam, các bạn quay kênh YouTube channel của mình. I know your dad was the Vietnam veteran. How his time in Vietnam affected at all the way he see family?
As my father was a vet, he served in the American Army. He has always been a family man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Vietnam necessarily influenced him in that respect, because he's always had a sense of tradition, of volunteering, of family is important. And that's how he was raised as well.
Thank you.
When he went to war representing the U.S. to support the Vietnamese people, he did that as an act of volunteering. He was not drafted, so he came to the country on his own free will.
Oh.
And my parents were married a week before he went to your country. Yeah, this was 1966. My father doesn't talk much about his time in country.
Yeah.
Because it still kind of disturbs him. And he did things that were top secret.
Yeah, sure.
So he doesn't discuss those things.
Okay. Did your family do anything fun during the holidays?
Yeah, we would, being that I grew up in New Jersey, we were about 2 hours from New York City. So in high school, I was involved in the choirs, and we would go into New York City to sing in little concerts.
Yeah.
We would go to Rockefeller Center to see the big New York Christmas tree.
Yes, and I only, by the way, watching, I think after Thanksgiving, they had light up the Rockefeller in NBC.
Yep. You'd go ice skating at Rockefeller Center as well. You'd get the little carts on the street vendors with hot pretzels, or a nice hot drink. We would go to Carnegie Hall, those kinds of New York highlighted places. But also we would go skiing, ice skating, snowmobiling, doing snow activities as well.
By the way, how far from your house to Rockefeller Center?
It's about a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
Because
I don't think you drive during that holiday.
Not when I was really small.
You did not take train or something?
No, from where I grew up, it was a very rural community, so we didn't have train service.
I see.
It was always, if we were going for a school activity, it was through a school bus to take it in with a large group. Or if you went with your family, you would take a vehicle in. Yeah. You would sometimes park in Hoboken, New Jersey, which is across the river of Manhattan, and go underground. Yeah. And take a train service. But usually I don't take public transportation that much. It's just the way I was raised.
In 2022, I drove to New York City, and I feel like very slow, and
I love driving in the city, so it's fun to me.
Yeah. And then I had to return the car, and then it's better to take public transportation.
Yeah.
Nói về thức ăn thì đến dịp Tết Việt Nam chuẩn bị rất nhiều đúng không? Thì mình quay thử ở văn hóa Mỹ sẽ như thế nào?
What were the food like in family gathering during the Christmas?
For my family, being that I'm a descendant of Germans and I'm a descendant of the English, we incorporate those food traditions or those nuances from those countries. So there's a traditional bread called stollen, which is a dried fruit very dense, very flat. It looks like a crescent that my grandmother would always make, and that was from Germany.
You show me after the interview, and I will Google it how it looks like. I never tried before.
I'll make you some for Christmas.
No, you don't have to. Thank you.
But then from my mom's side of the family being English, the English like roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. Yeah. So those we would have during Christmas. Of course, ham and things like that. But I could also go to friends' homes who are descendants from Italy, and they have like a 12-course meal. And so it's your fish, it's your beef, it's your poultry, it's just onslaught of all day eating.
Ở Việt Nam mình thì có lì xì vân vân, thì giờ mình cũng hỏi chị là về vấn đề đó ở Mỹ như thế nào. Let's talk about the giving back and give. And my question is how your parents teach you about giving back? And what is the gift that you treasured the most?
So as a kid, my mom's side of the family, and as well as my father's side of the family, are Salvation Army officers. And if you don't know, Salvation Army is also a church. Yeah. And through that, my grandfather was a minister. So being able to help fundraise. So fundraising for the Salvation Army is a big kettle, usually in front of grocery stores or retail stores, and you would ring a bell and people donate into the kettle. I was one of those people who rang the bell. We would also help in the soup kitchens to provide full meals to those less fortunate and that could not supply a meal for themselves. Usually it's homeless, but there's other families that can't afford a full meal and would get a nice warm meal.
Như bạn thấy là ở Mỹ thì người ta cũng cho đi rất là nhiều, như là chị Cindy thì tham gia những cái hội mà có thể làm súp nóng bữa ăn cho những người vô gia cư và những người lang thang cơ nhỡ như Việt Nam, cũng có cơm không đồng vân vân, còn chay, thì ở đây họ cũng có làm những cái như vậy.
As far as a favorite gift, my grandfather, Schotter, was an engineer. He was mechanical. Yeah. Some of his hobbies were woodworking, were gunsmithing, also making knives. As a kid, I didn't get the gun or the knives. And really wouldn't want them today, but they were beautiful pieces. He handmade me cradle for my dolls, made me a doll dresser for all my doll clothes, and made me a child sitting rocking chair. To this day, I don't have them, but I passed them to my niece and nephew. So they are heirlooms to the family.
Thank you. Let's come to the last question. What's with the holiday memory with your family that still make you smile today?
So if I really think about it, I'm going back to when I was probably around 6 to 10 years old. Traditionally, we would go to my grandparents' house for Christmas Eve. We would have a Christmas Eve dinner. We would go to the Christmas Eve candlelight ceremony at church, come back to their house, have a big dinner. This was with my cousins and aunts and uncles as well. And we would open gifts around 11 o'clock at night. And afterwards, we were tired and we would go back home, which was about a 40 minute drive from my grandparents' house. Yeah. And I can remember to this day feeling the crispness of the air, being that it was cold, and looking up at the sky in New Jersey where it was really super dark, so you could see the stars sparkle. And I can remember looking at the North Star, doing my secret wish that I would always say, and then look around the sky to try to find Santa and Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. and
hopefully in the car they have music like that for you.
Yeah, we were listening to Christmas music and, you know, and still hold on to that Christmas spirit of faith, of generosity.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for your time today. Hopefully, when you have a chance, you will visit Vietnam.
I would certainly love to visit your country.
Okay, thank you. Cảm ơn các bạn. Bye bye.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.